Welcome back to my garden. July has been very wet and cold for the time of the year, and after a cold spring, plants in my garden are a bit behind. The roses aren't flowering as abundant as usual, and the annual flowers like the cosmos and the zinnias just started flowering. The hydrangea Annabelle is the star of the garden at the moment. I love the combination of the Sidalcia and the Agapanthus, which the bees absolutely adore. I have a troop of 50 sparrows in my garden. Every morning they come to the bird feeders, and in the evening they sleep in my ivy hedge. I like how my display at the terrace has turned out. The eucomus ferns and agapanthus give a tropical feeling to this part of the garden. Along the path the lavenders and cosmos start to flower, and at the back some verbenas popped up. They're self-sown and do not fit the garden plan, but as the bees and butterflies love them, I can't bear to remove them. Mid-July, more cosmos and a few dahlias start to flower, adding some color to the garden, but there's still a lot of green. I decided that it was time to add more color to the garden, and I went to the south of the Netherlands to pay a visit to one of my favorite nurseries. The great thing about visiting a nursery in summer is that you can see most of the plants in full flower, making it easier to pick the right size and colors for your garden, or making beautiful plant combinations. Also, if you're looking for bee-friendly plants, it is easy to spot their favorite flowers. The nursery is buzzing with bees. I love the blue of the agastache, so I think I might select a few for my garden. Look at all these wonderful colors. I'm taking this echinops home with me. I've chosen lots of lovely new plants that will find a new home in my garden. I came home with lots of new plants that needed to find a home in my garden. Before I start planting, I'm placing all my new plants with their pots on the soil. It is always such a joyful process to find the right spot for them. When I'm happy with where they are, I'll start planting. I'm going to add some color to this border. In June it was really lovely with the pink roses, the gentle Hermione in flower, the nepitas and the foxgloves. But they all finished flowering, so I had to cut them back. So now the only flowers I have left are these cupcake cosmos. And I think they're really pretty, but they're quite tall, so I don't have any flowers here at the bottom. So as a replacement for the nepitas, I'm going to add this beautiful agastache. And this one is called Bleu Fortune or Blue Fortune. And I'm also going to add this echinops, and this is a white variety called powwow white. And they both like a sunny and dry position, so I think this border will be perfect for them. And the bees absolutely adore them. And I think I might squeeze in a dahlia here at the center as well, so that this border links to the border at the other side where I grow most of my dahlias. I'm very pleased with where they are and how it looks like, so it's time to put them in the ground. I dig a hole the same depth as the pot and carefully place them in the hole and backfill with soil. The plants are a bit root bound, so I'm teasing the roots so that they can grow into the soil easier. It is such a joy to plant your plants when they are in full flower. You instantly see the end result without having to wait for weeks before they start flowering. And finally, I give them a good watering. I'm also going to add more color to the border at the back of the garden. I absolutely adore this process. It feels a bit like painting with flowers. The border at the back of my garden is starting to look better every day, now with the hydrangea Annabelle in full flower, as well as some of the dahlias that start to flower. So over here I have a variety called Joey Paula, and it is a pompon dahlia in an apricot pink tone. I think it's really pretty. And then at the front I have a more vibrant color, and that one is called French Cancan. It's a little bit more orangey and it has darker side petals at the back. I wasn't sure about the color, but yeah, now I really start to like it. And then over here I have a zinnia, and this one is called Queenie Lime, and I think it just looks like a mini dahlia. And I'm also going to add some more color here with this achillea, and this one is called Walter Funke, and it is a terracotta tone, and I think it works really well with the dahlias. So what doesn't work really well is the border in front of it with the soft pink tones. And I have to make a decision between orange apricot and soft pinks, but I can't decide because I like them both. So what I'm going to do is to add some agastache here as well. And so then it would link to the border at the front. So I hope that will work a little bit better. And then also along the path I have lavenders growing. So it will lead your eye all the way through the garden to the back of the garden. Just look how beautiful that combination is of the French Cancan with the darker backside of the petals, and then the achillea as well that has a darker edge around the flowers. I think it's really pretty. I'm happy with where my plants are, so it's time to place them into the soil. You might have noticed that I've removed the apricot roses in this border and replaced them with dahlias. My roses were suffering a lot, so I dug them up and placed them in a pot and gave them a lot of TLC to gather strength, so that I hopefully can replant them in autumn when the dahlias are finished flowering. Again, I'm teasing the roots before planting them. love the combination of apricot and blue tones, and I think the end result looks pretty good, adding that splash of color. I absolutely adore white foxgloves, so I'm collecting the seeds to grow new plants for next year. I will leave the seeds to dry in the paper bag. Foxgloves are biennial, so I will sow these at the end of summer to get them in flower next spring. The vegetables are growing slowly. I have a cucumber and my beans are doing very well, just like the honey tomatoes. And I even have a partisan squash, but not everything is doing well. Now, as you can see, my onions aren't doing very well. I think they don't like the potting compost. These ones already start flopping and the red ones start flowering, so they won't grow any further. So I'm going to take them out, let them dry, and then I'm going to sow some French beans in this bed. It is very small, but it's perfectly edible, so I'm going to dry these and I will use these in a salad. I have to be careful because there's some strawberries that made some runners and they already rooted, so I want to keep these, so I have to be careful when I pull the onions out. just a small harvest of white onions, and these are my red onions. These are really small, but they're still fine for a salad. But just at the other side of the bed I have a large courgette that I can harvest. Just look at the size of this one. I'm going to carefully cut it. There you go, a nice big healthy courgette. I promised to show you my failures as well, and this bed is a huge failure. I sowed the turnips and the beetroots 4 months ago, and usually you can harvest them within 2 to 3 months, but after 4 months the beetroots have the size of peas and these look like giant radishes. So I don't know why it is, but I don't like it here. Maybe it's the potting compost, or maybe it's just too sunny and dry. So I'm going to clear this bed, and maybe I leave some of the larger beetroot, but the rest can go. And then I'm going to plant some annual cut flowers in here. So let's take these out. Oh, they look rather nice as a radish, but not as a turnip. So I took them all out and I've kept the larger ones, and I will cook these and I hope they're still edible. I filled the bed with zinnias that I transplanted from a small border behind the yew hedge. So for the next year I think I will use this bed for cut flowers. In the next video I will be working in the vegetable garden and harvest a lot of vegetables. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.